All right. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Thanks. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Uh, I, Shahrukh, on the behalf of LitMania Literature, welcome you all on this session on tips and strategy for UGC NET. As you know that UGC NET is inching close and it's approaching right now. And I have seen means in previous year I have conducted many of the sessions on UGC NET, but then there was a long gap between this session and the last that we have conducted on the behalf of LitMania Literature. So, because the UGC net is now closed, so you need some last minute tips, and who could be a better speaker than Simran, the speaker of today's session. Simran has she's in the last semester of her masters, but she has qualified GRF in her first attempt. So I have been through this PPT. So there are many tips and tricks that she has mentioned, and even that was new for me. So the path that she has actually followed uh, paved the way for her, and that's why she has qualified her GRL. So she will be sharing all those rules or the tips that will help you also because as you know that UGC date is very close and you need the last minute preparation kind of thing. Okay, everyone has its own strategy, but then if you will follow one or two strategy of someone else that and if that might work for you, then that's a good point, and that would be a kind of opportunity that you need to take with both hands. So without further delay, I would say Simran to to begin this session. Simran, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, fine, fine, fine. You are perfectly audible. So session is all yours. Now you can present. I mean, you have already presented this thing. You can go on.
Okay, thank you, Shahrukh. Good morning, everyone. I'll begin with the tips and strategies for UGC Net. There are certain golden rules that I followed. The first and foremost is analyzing the previous year papers thoroughly. Analyzing the previous year's papers is important because from here you can get to know the text from which they are asking the questions, the text that you should be reading, the prioritized areas, and the favorite topics and trends that are asked every year. Okay. After that, there is the syllabi of major universities like Delhi University's CBCS course, Jadavpur University, JMI, BHU, and other central universities, because these universities would offer you the list of canonical works. So even if you are from any other college or any other central university, you could just get a list of these the works mentioned in these syllabi, and then you can prepare accordingly. Because every year questions are asked from the canonical works from the important areas mentioned in mostly the syllabus of the central universities. Now, you need to pay attention on the canonical works. Apart from the syllabus of the major universities, you can follow standard history books like Andrew Sanders, Routledge, and E. Albert. So, from there, you will get to know the list of important works. You can just go through the summaries. So, summaries is also important. I've also mentioned that as the fifth point. For summaries, you can refer to Wikipedia, Oxford Encyclopedia, and in the course of this PPT, I'll explain to you how questions are picked right from Wikipedia. And the fourth point is focusing on chronology. Chronology is very important because this year and the previous year, at least 10 to 15 questions were based on chronology from literary theory, from British history, 20th and 19th century. For chronology, I had a very good book, Paul Poplawski, so I would recommend that to you. And there is Oxford Encyclopedia. Its ebook is also available freely. So at the end of the book, there is a list of chronological, there's a tabular form, and you have the chronology of major events and major publications. So that would be very helpful. Now, how do we analyze the question paper? This is the first and foremost thing that you should be doing before beginning your preparation. Get hold of question papers right from 2018 onwards, since the syllabus changed from that year onwards. Now find out the topics which are prioritized. For instance, British history has 30 to 40 questions every year. And out of British history, at least 15 to 20 questions are from 20th century. So after British history, another 30 questions are from literary theory and criticism. So this forms the major chunk of the syllabus, literary theory and British history. So if you cover these topics, if you have a strong hold on these topics, you will be able to solve at least 60% of the paper, and that would help you qualify net. At least net, you could be in the safe zone. So a strong hold in these topics can help you clear the net cutoff. You need to solve at least 60 to 70 questions in the entire paper 2 area to get closer to the JRF mark. So if you are good at British history and literary theory, you'll be able to chip in more marks from other areas like Indian literature, English in India, linguistics, research methodology. So now let's see how questions are picked up. There was one question in shift 2 this year, the previous exam. So the question was, in his recasting the canon of English poetry in new bearings in English poetry, which of the following pairs was downgraded by F.R. Lewis? Now, this question, when I searched it on Google, the exact question was asked from a book, which is, I'll show it to you in the next slide. This is the PDF ebook of that book. It's by ݴᴜᴜ. So the exact question was picked up from a book of A History of Literary Criticism by ݴᴜᴜ. So this is how the question paper is important to you. You can get to know the text that the question setters are following. So this is a standard book for literary criticism, and the question was directly picked up from this book. So this is just an example how you could use the question paper to get to know the text you should be reading. Another important source is Wikipedia, and questions are also picked up very word to word from here also. So another example is, this was also a question in the previous exam, shift 1. Which of the following novel has its epigraph taken from Katha Upanishad? The answer was The Razor's Edge by Somerset Maugham. Now, he is a very canonical writer. And if you go through the Wikipedia page of this writer,
Can you please rejoin? Your voice is breaking.
okay, sure. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I'll
You,
share my screen.
you can present your screen. You were perfectly audible that time also. Perhaps there was some network issue with the participant itself.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yet, not yet, ma'am.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So I was telling you how there was a question that was picked up right from Wikipedia. So this was a question from The Razor's Edge, and If you can read this page that I've shared, just in the second paragraph, it's written, the novel's title comes from a translation of a verse in the Katha Upanishad, paraphrased in the book's epigraph as, the sharp edge of a razor is difficult to pass over. Thus the wise say the path to salvation is hard. Can you read that? Can you see that? Hello?
Yes, we can see that.
So the question was directly picked up from that. So if you go through the canonical writers and their works on Wikipedia as well, there are lots of questions that match from that area. So Wikipedia is a very important as well as a convenient source. And this is my tip for those who are going to appear in the exam in the June and July session, because we have so less time and the syllabus is so vast. Wikipedia would prove to be a very useful source. So you need not have to go through the history books and all. Go through the canonical works mentioned in the syllabi of major universities. Go to their Wikipedia pages, go through the summaries, and that would be helpful. So there was another question in the shift one of the previous year's paper. The question is, Virginia Woolf's Orlando opens in 1588, and Orlando, a 16-year-old boy, writes a poem called The Oak Tree. Now, for those who have not read the novel Orlando, they can go to the summary either from Wikipedia or any other source, and you would be able to get to the answer. So, for net, since it's a very objective exam, you need not read the books entirely. Getting to know the plot and summary would be helpful, and that is why I have mentioned Wikipedia. Since you can see in the first page itself, it's mentioned the desolate Orlando returns to writing The Oak Tree, a long poem started and abandoned in his youth. Next, I'll talk about the favorite topics and trends of UGC. Since the previous year, in 2020, in both the shifts, the question on the chronological order of periodicals and journals is very frequent. So the question here, the third one that I'm pointing out here, this was asked in 2020. Arrange the following 18th century magazines in chronological order of publications: the Critical Review, Monthly Review, Gentleman's Magazine, and the Rambler. Then in the previous year in 2021, again such questions were asked. Arrange the following journals in chronological order: Longman's Magazine, Cornell Magazine, Blackwood Magazine, Bentley's Magazine. Again in shift 2, the question was asked to arrange the Tatler Examiner Review and the Spectator in the chronological order. For this, you can be sort of prepared that again such questions would be asked in this session. So you can make a list of the periodicals and journals either from Wikipedia or any other source from the internet, and this would be, and you will be able to fetch marks since this is a sure shot question. There are other questions also that are very frequent in the UGC Net exam. For example, the list of works by Indian linguists. Every year they are asking match the following questions on this topic. Then chronology is a very favorite topic of UGC Net. So you can make a list of works that are mentioned in the syllabi of the major universities, search their dates, and put them in a chronological order. After paper 2, I'll talk a bit about paper 1. The strategy I used was to solve as many questions as I could. You can search mock tests. There are a lot of platforms that offer you mock tests. Solve as many questions, as many mocks as you can. Try to get at least 25 questions correct. And for the content, there are a lot of educators on YouTube. The content is available freely. There are websites also that offer you notes on paper 1. And another tip is that at least for the JRF cutoff, you need to solve at least 80 to 90 questions. So if you are able to solve 25 to 30 questions in paper 1 and 60 to 70 questions in paper 2, you will be on the safe side. Now, there are also some strategies that I would like to share that would be helpful during the examination. So what I did was, I began the paper with paper 2. I skipped the paper 1 part, went on to paper 2, solved as many questions I could that I was very short of, in which I was very confident, in around 20 to 30 minutes. That was more than enough. After that, I moved on to paper 1. I solved the DI and other mathematical questions in 30 to 45 minutes. You can take as much time according to your speed. Within 30 to 45 minutes, that would be enough. Then you go on to solve the rest of paper 1, the theoretical part, in another 45 minutes, and 45 minutes would suffice. So now you will be left with 1 more hour, and you can proceed to make educated guesses in paper 2. Now, since you have completed the entire portion of paper 1 and 2, you have gone through the questions that you were very sure of, you've already ticked those. You have solved your DI, your theoretical part in paper 1. So you're completely free now. With a free mind, you can now make educated guesses and go on to solve at least 60 to 65 questions in paper 2. Now, the difficulty level in paper 2 is somewhat like the 70 questions are doable, 30 questions are those which nobody would be able to solve. The pattern is like that. I have analyzed the question papers since 2018 onwards. So, even if you're able to solve 70 questions, you will clear the JRF cutoff. So, if you're not able to solve around 30 questions, you don't need to panic. It's okay if you leave out 30 questions. You don't need to leave out them because there's no negative marking. Just be sure that even if you leave 30 questions, you're not sure of those 30 questions that you have ticked, it's okay. You need to focus on solving at least 70 correct questions. Now, I'll also talk about the books that I referred. For literary theory and criticism, every year questions are asked from Pramod K. Nair and Peter Barry. There are very direct questions from Pramod K. Nair since 2018 onwards. For criticism, I showed to you how a question from ᴜᴜ Blamires was picked up word to word. M.A.R. Habib is also a very good book, and questions are asked from that book as well. So these are important books for literary theory and criticism. And for British history, I've already talked about the major sources you can use. Yeah. So for British history, you can use the Oxford Encyclopedia. The ebook is available. It has summaries on the canonical works, and you could rely on them. Then there's a favorite book of mine. It's Paul Poplawski. It has a very good tabular structure which provides a chronology of all the canonical works, and questions have been asked from those canonical works. So you can rely on this book. Then there are some standard books on history. You can use either of these, either E. Albert, which is a very short book, or Andrew Sanders or Routledge. Another important source is the NPTEL lectures by professors of IIT Madras. If you do not have British history as a part of your syllabus in your UG, you can rely on these lectures. You will be able to make a foundation on these. The entire British history module is very important. Even for literary theory and criticism, there are lecture series by IIT Madras, the NPTEL channel. And another useful tip that I could share is when you begin your preparation or when you begin your revision for the June-July session, begin from 20th century onwards, since it is a very noted trend that the majority of questions from British history are asked from 20th and 19th century. Around 15 to 20 questions from both these, from 20th and 19th. And very less weightage is given to literature of 16th, 17th, and 18th. So if you begin your revision from 16th, 17th, and 18th, you'll get stuck into the vast portion. So begin from 20th century. It will help you fetch more marks, and then you can proceed to the 16th, 17th, and 18th. Okay, I think I am done with the PPT. If there are any questions, I welcome you all to ask your questions.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, I'm Ankit. I'm doing my master's from Banaras Hindu University, and actually, when I got to know that you are pursuing your PhD from there, so I would like to ask you, are you a regular scholar over there?
Sorry, I am not a PhD student. I am in master's second year right now.
Oh, you are in master's second year.
Right. Just got done with the master's.
Actually, I did not know that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I would request you that if any kind of support is required in future, so you would please extend it to me from your side.
Sure, I'll share my email ID in the group. You can
Okay.
contact me.
Okay.
So participant can
Ma'am,
ask
good
the
morning,
question.
ma'am.
They can also write down in the chat box. Okay, I will take those. Fine. So someone was asking the question. You can go on.
Yes.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
No.
Yes, you are.
Hi, ma'am. I'm
Yeah.
currently in second semester of masters, and I thought that I'll start my preparation from first semester onwards. But
Okay.
the master's syllabus is really hectic too. I am unable to manage the net preparation and this. So how can you tell me that? How did you manage, and did you focus on the master's syllabus, or you just wanted to pass through it?
No, we had to focus on our master's syllabus, I mean, the master's course as well, since that also has a weightage. So, but the two things are very different, you know. For UGC Net, you do not have to have an in depth knowledge of the texts, right? For your master's, if you're reading ᴛᴜᴜ, you'll go to the entire text from cover to cover. But the same text, things fall apart. If you're reading for UGC Net, you would go through the summary, you will go to the names of characters and important themes or the dates of publications of things fall apart and the other text written by ᴛᴜᴜ. So it's very different. And for UGC Net, if you were thinking to prepare for a 6 month or of a year, what you can do is take on 5 authors, 5 works every day, go through their summaries, go through the syllabus of major universities, go through the question papers, see if those writers are prioritized or not. For example, for African literature, you know that ᴛᴜᴜ is important, and for you can go through the syllabus and you can make a list of writers, and either you get them printed or you make your own notes. Make the notes about the characters, the ages, the chronological dates, and that would suffice. It's very different from what you prepare for your master's examinations. So, did that help?
Actually, I do have those notes I did make for the master's entrance, but now I'm unable to handle the preparation of net and the master's at the same time. We are writing papers and stuff. So, while reading the master's course, I'm thinking that I should go in depth because the more the in depth the text I cover, it would be better for the net. So is that the wrong approach of me thinking like after hearing you, I am thinking that I shouldn't go in that much depth and I should just
No,
take
if you're
time
reading
out
for your
for the net
master's,
preparation. I should
yes,
try it.
you should go in depth.
Yeah.
Text that you're reading for your master's. But just as I showed you the example of Orlando, even if you have not read Orlando,
Yeah.
into the summary, it is going to help you in fact getting those marks. So for UGC Net, the plus point is
Yeah,
you do not
that
need to
is
read the
true.
texts. But then it's also very intensive because you need to know the entire work list of Virginia Woolf, every work of Virginia Woolf, the dates, the summaries, the characters. So that is also an intensive work. But it's a different sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, in a different way. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
First of all, thank you so much for taking this class, ma'am. Ma'am, I wanted to ask you questions that how much time need to cover the entire syllabus, ma'am, and to prepare for UGC to crack the UGC. Many people say 3 years, minimum 4 years, and some many people say that in 3 months. I'm really getting that confusion. Can you please help me?
No, not 3 or 4 years. At the max, you need a full-fledged 1 year. 1 year's dedicated work would help you get to the exam. So you begin with the modules. You begin with, say, let's say, British history for 3 months. So you cover the entire British history portion in 3 months. Then you move on to literary theory for, say, let's another 2 to 3 months. Then you go to research methodology, cultural studies, English literature, English in India. So the syllabus is very vast. You cannot take that lightly. But what I shared with you, there are certain hacks that you can use if you're going to appear for the June July session. You do not have that much time. So if you're in your UG or in your master's first year, if you have a year in your hand, go through the entire syllabus, take time, give time to each portion, divide the entire year into portions, and you can finish the syllabus. And then for 1 or 2 months, you can go for a complete revision.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, for December exam 2022, what can you say? What you suggest to me, ma'am? The reading pattern
Okay,
means
you
the
6 months. You divide your 6 months. Hello, you can hear me?
yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So even for December session, you have 6 months in hand. You divide your 6 months into the units that you need to prepare. The weaker areas, you go for the weaker areas first, develop them, and then you can proceed to the other areas that you're familiar with.
Okay, ma'am. In a day, how much preparation should we have to do, ma'am? For example, how many authors we have to complete? How many hours we have to complete this? Like that. Can you please, ma'am?
If you're consistent with your studies, you can either pick up 5 authors or 10 authors in a day, and then or you can choose, say, 20 authors for the entire week. You make your schedule according to your pace, and then you finish those authors. You finish, let's say, you begin with British history, then you go for American history, African history. You make those chunks, finish those off within the stipulated time, and then you go for either mocks or question banks or revision in whichever way you find it easy. Because the ultimate thing is you need to retain it. The syllabus is so vast, and you need to have multiple revisions so that you can retain it till the exam time.
Okay, ma'am. When I start to study, right? For example, I have completed a author. Okay, fully I have studied. But when I see the previous year question paper about that author, if any questions has come, I couldn't answer to that questions.
So you mark that author, and then if you go and read that question, there'll be a reason why that author is asked. For example, in shift 2 this year, there was a question that you had to choose the works written by David Lodge. Okay. Now, why is David Lodge important? David Lodge is important because he's a Booker Prize winner. So you need to know why that author is being asked. Either he's a Nobel Prize winner or a very canonical author in some genre, and then you proceed to study their works, the summaries, the themes. If you know what kind of work the author writes, you'll be able to make an educated guess, and that is most of the time correct.
Okay. Ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am. My last question is about paper one, ma'am. I'm very poor in mathematics, ma'am. Very much, very means very much. So I cannot handle the DI questions and mathematical questions. So what can I do for that, ma'am? How can I score that marks?
Yeah. When I began my preparation, I was also very underconfident for maths. But then when you start solving at least 20 to 25 DI questions that are asked in the previous years, You can get hold of question papers since the paper 1 syllabus for all the subjects is same. So get hold of question papers for commerce paper 1, economics paper 1, English paper 1, and solve those papers. When you have solved the DI for 10 to 20 questions that were asked by UGC, you will gain a confidence level. So for DI is not that tough. Even I used to have the fear for mathematical questions for DI. But when you know the trick, write the formulas in a page, get thorough with the concept, and then you solve the questions. So with time, you will gain confidence. It's nothing. It's not that tough.
Ma'am, what if I do like okay, just leave mathematics questions and go for
Sorry, I
theory
can't hear
part?
you. Could you repeat?
Ma'am, what I'm thinking is if I feel such a difficult in mathematics questions and AI questions, can I leave that map and go for theory part? Can I score in that also?
Yeah, definitely. There are 50 questions. There are only 5 questions from DI. Even if you leave 5 questions, you still have 45 questions to answer. And even if you think that 10 questions would be difficult, you're still getting 35 questions correct. You'll clear the JRF cutoff. You need to solve at least 35 questions.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, but the thing is, Shaina, the thing is that if you will leave that question, you have to be pretty sure that you are going to score 35. Okay, and this is sometimes it becomes very hectic. You won't be able to solve 35 questions. Okay, even the theoretical questions nowadays are pretty tough. So, like Simran said, that you can make a one-page formula for DI. Okay. So, and watch the educators who are there on YouTube. Watch them solve the questions practically. Until and unless you will solve it yourself, you won't be able to do DI. Okay. That's the major thinking that you should have regarding DI. So there are formulas. You just need to know that how I'm going to apply this. And I'm pretty sure that you will be getting 3 questions out of those formula only. 2 questions will be tricky, but the 3 question will be out of from that formula itself. So you will be able to solve it at this point. Your fear of
Yes,
not
ma'am.
solving those questions is actually holding you back.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
So
sir.
we have one more question from Rituparna Roy. There is ample amount of resources available for British English literature and American English literature. But what are the reliable sources for Indian literature and world English literature?
Yeah. For Indian literature, as I said, you can, for any genre, you can first go to the syllabi of major universities. And most of the questions that are asked in the question paper, you can just go and recheck. They are from the syllabi of major universities.
Fine, so my screen is visible. Can someone confirm it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sure.
fine. Okay, so this is the website that I used to suggest. Even I have shared it in the LitMania literature group, ლიტრੇინες.org. So you will get many MCQs, almost 20,000 questions are there. So for mock, you can refer to this or the quizzes that are going on LitMania or anywhere in the Telegram group. See, what happens is that if you see one particular question again and again at different platform, that will stick to your mind. And once a question like that or the options that you have read during attending the quizzes, so once you will read some sort of question that you have already, it means solved somewhere, So that will hit you at the time of examination, and you will be able to at least make an intelligent guess if you are not pretty sure. So do this. So for instance, I have solved this around 700 questions. So you will be getting your progress report that okay, these are the questions which were right, and these are the questions which were wrong, and you can just write down the answer and then move on to the next question. So in this way, you can just make sure that you will solve at least 25 questions per day. So even in the 30 days, you will be able to solve so many of questions. So I have already shared this in the LitMania. Many of the students are following this, but those who are not following this mock test, they can also do.
Yeah, Shahrukh. Even I use this website. It has n number of things that are useful. It
Yeah,
has
exactly.
the lectures.
And this is
The lectures
also,
on literary theory are so good, even on
Mhm.
British history.
Yeah,
And I
see,
also used to do the mocks. Yeah.
yeah, the categories division are also good. See, Anglo-Saxon, Age of Chaucer, Age of Revival, whichever section that you find that okay, this part is my weak point. So begin with that. If you know that okay, my until Victorian age, my literature, my knowledge of history, everything is fine. Go with the modern and postmodern age, the theoretical section, the criticism. So you can choose the category also. That's the plus point.
Good morning, ma'am. Hello.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, Simran. I'm Barkha, and I'm an assistant professor. So I just need to clear this net
Morning.
this time. So this is the last time I'm going to appear for it. Like this is the golden opportunity. I have given net 4 times, but still haven't cleared it yet. So this would be my 5th time, and as I said, this is the last opportunity. So my question for you is, could you please tell the how should we cram? How should we learn the book of winners as suggested, like Booker Prize, International Booker Prize? Like there's a list which I have, but still it's difficult to cram it. Like 2008 ka kaun tha and 2009 ka. So like, could you please suggest something over that?
Ma'am, what I used to do was to make mnemonics. Those were very crazy ones. You cannot share it with anybody. Those are your secret mnemonics. You know, you can learn it through that way, or you can either write it, make posters, stick it to your wall, see it every day.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
What I used to do is I used to record audio notes, and I used to hear those. So that was a way that was useful to me. You could do that as well.
Okay, that's great. And my second question would be like, would you suggest some main authors from like 10 main authors or 20 main authors? So in 1 month we can clear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd suggest you to go through the CBCS syllabus of Delhi University. Uh, I was analyzing the question paper of the previous exam. So many questions, the canonical works and writers were asked from the syllabus of DU. So it's like a golden thing. You need to have the syllabus as your textbook. So, and I think this is not discussed anywhere. This should be a standard thing for your reference. The syllabus of major universities.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I would just say that you are my guru. बहुत अच्छे से समझाया मैम आपने.
Thank you so
प्लस
much.
बहुत अच्छा लगा. आप मास्टर्स कर रही हैं बीएचयू से. मैं बीएचयू जरूर आऊंगी पीएचडी के लिए.
Sure, ma'am.
फॉर्म भरने जा रही हूँ बस आजकल में. So and one more thing, like last thing, would I say, revision is most important. As you said, like revision बहुत important है. तो per day revision better रहेगा, right? Like जैसे हमने previous आज जैसे जो मैंने आज पढ़ा, like next day should I revise it? That would be
sure,
great.
sure. That would be great. Even at the end of the day, whatever you've read, you just go through them.
And William J. Long, like Shah Rukh recommended me to buy that book, William J. Long,
Yeah, that's also good.
History of English Literature. So I would be start reading that. I just bought it.
I'd say any standard history book would be helpful. Not David Deutsch's, but Andrew Sanders, William J. Long Hudson, because they'll give you the foundation, the important works in their writers.
Okay.
And from that on, you have to develop. You have to go and search those writers, make a list of their works.
Okay.
So history books are for your foundation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Simran. It was really wonderful hearing you. Thank you.
All the
Hello,
best.
good morning, ma'am. Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Hello, I can hear you. Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm Radhika. Actually, I just want to ask that you're talking about dues, right? So, ma'am, is IGNOU syllabus would be beneficial for net preparation?
Yes, definitely. For literary theory and criticism, I got those notes printed. They are so good and very reliable for those parts.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I have done my master's from IGNOU, so I have lots of IGNOU stuff. So, can I prepare from that?
Yes, the IGNOU syllabus is very good. You have the
Okay,
major canonical writers there.
okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Yes, Alok, I can hear you.
Thank you, Simran, for your so much helping today. But I want to ask two questions. How did you tackle this new unit for non-fiction prose unit? I find it very difficult. The thing like could come from anywhere. And your second question I would like to have on.
Alok, can you type your question? You're not that audible.
Okay.
Yeah, so is there a 5 time limit for appearing in UGC Net? Shivangi is asking the question. As far
No,
I
there's
know,
only
there is
one
no
age
limit.
limit.
Yeah,
No.
age limit for JRF candidates, but then for UGC Net, you can appear as many as times. So you see, Vinit sir is there. He has appeared almost 10 times. So you can
Yeah.
have 10 certificates in your hand. Okay, so Alok is
How did you?
asking, yeah, how did you tackle the unit for non-fiction prose unit?
For non-fiction prose, I'll give you an example. Last year, the question was asked about Montaigne's of Cannibals. It's a non-fiction prose. Now, Montaigne is a very important writer, and like I mentioned, there's a book by Paul Poplawski. It has the list of important works and their writers. There, Montaigne's essays of cannibals is mentioned. So you can just go through the important canonical works. And now, since you know Montaigne of cannibal is important in Wikipedia, when you open Wikipedia, just the first sentence that Montaigne's cannibal focuses on Brazil. And that was a question that was asked last week. So is that helpful? You go through the syllabus, go for canonical works, to the Wikipedia page, and there you are. The question was asked from that part. Good morning.
I'm pursuing masters from Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Motihari, Bihar. And first of all, I'm going to appear NET examination. What should I do for
You
better?
can first get hold of the question papers
Yes, ma'am.
from 2018 onwards
Yes, ma'am.
and analyze the trends and analyze what are your weaker areas and what are the areas that you are familiar with.
Okay, ma'am.
So develop your weaker areas. If you're weak in British history, go to the entire British history
Okay, ma'am.
and yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, I am Ananya. I am also pursuing my master's from BHU. Ma'am, how you manage to study for NET JRF with PG side by side? Means, how should I manage both the papers?
You're in your first year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you have 1 year at your disposal. You can manage the 1 year, divide the year into portions, complete units in specific months, and you can manage. 3 to 4 hours of dedicated work every day throughout the year would help you crack the exam very well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And if you have any group, please do add me there.
Okay, I am in the LitMania group.
How can I add in that?
You are already there in the LitMania group.
No, ma'am, somebody shared me this link.
Okay, you can join that group. That would work.
Fine. So I have presented my screen. So this is the book means written by ʟʚᴜ to which Simran
Yes.
also referred. So you can see that one section is devoted to this history and culture, and another the literature of that age. So this is the way in me. See, when you are reading any history of literature book, you know that any of the piece of literature or the novels, the fiction, non-fiction, they are somehow influenced by the social and political condition of the time. So you need to remember both the things, the historical context of the time as well as the word. That would help, especially in the long time career. Okay, so if you suppose you are preparing for this time UGC Net, you do not have to go in detail right now, at least at this fag end of the preparation. But yeah, if you are preparing for the next time, then you can go thoroughly with the history of literature. Okay, that would help me. So this book is there, I guess, in LitMania literature. Whatever book that Simran has suggested, almost all of them are there in the channel of the group. You can find the PDF, the soft copy of all the books that has been referred by Simran. I have also given the link for group
So
as well as
would
this
you please
MCQ.
resend
Yeah, Ankit.
so would you please resend this PDF so that we may get access to it easily?
See, I used to repeat it, means every now and then I used to send it again and again so that the students who have joined very lately, they can get access to it. But then, yeah, I will share it again. Okay, but if you will go in the channel, you will find only relevant things. No other extra chats are there. So you can just go through the channel. Almost everything that has been shared in the channel of the group, that is very means reliable, as well as means some of the collections in the channel itself made by me. Okay, so I have collected it from here and there, and those are reliable sources. I have at least used it while I was preparing for UGC. So you can have the access of, but I will make sure to reshare those things.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Okay, so I guess we have no more questions. And if you have questions, you can just tag Simran in the group. Okay, in the LitMania group, and you can ask your question. Whenever she will get the free time, she will get back to you. Okay, and those who have joined very lately this session, so I will be uploading this particular video on the LitMania YouTube channel, so you can have the access to this video there. I guess within couple of days.
So thank you so much. As
Yeah.
literalness dot in Google, sir, but the page is not opening.
See,
Um,
you need to sign up for that, Shahina. You need to sign up. You need to put your WhatsApp number and then make a password, and then you can get access of that. Okay. Means I'm
sir,
in touch with the creator of this literalness also, the main admin of that particular group. So he's very good, generous person. So he has really helped me a lot to access many of the rare books which were not available anywhere. So is a means he's a kind of a giant for finding the books on world level. He can give you any book, and this platform helps a lot. Means many of the people are using this literalness website. So if you are finding any difficulty regarding password and all, let me know, and I will share the number of the owner of that particular website. He might help.
How to check it in Google, sir?
Sorry?
Oh, thank you, sir.
Okay, then, like I have said, that you can mention your question in the group itself. So if you have no more question, we can end this session. If you have, yeah,
Yes, sir, I have a question.
fine, fine.
We know nowadays we have a very less time and exam is coming and I applied for this exam. So how I can prepare in short time? Because
So,
I know, like we know, literature is seems like
mhm,
ocean,
mhm.
and I feel like that my preparation is it seems like a single drop of water. So how I can manage, because nowadays I'm feeling so hectic and confused, because I know if I want to crack this examination, so I need to go in depth. So please suggest like how I can do preparation in short time.
Okay, Shipra, you were there throughout the session, or you have joined at the back end of the session?
Uh, no, sir. I just uh, joined
In the
this
middle of the
session.
session.
I think, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Means Simran was actually, this session was dedicated to this course only. That how you are going to make strategy, or how you are going to prepare for this time UGC Net. Simran was talking about this only throughout the lecture. So when I will share the link of the YouTube channel, do watch it. Okay, she was talking about the last minute preparations. Okay,
Okay,
and
okay,
Simran,
sir.
you can intervene.
Yeah, yeah. Ma'am, if you want to share something in nutshell, so you can share.
Okay. You need to have two to three things in your mind. First of all, you need to know what the question UGC is going to ask you and from where they are going to ask you. If you know the where and what, you'll be able to complete your syllabus within a month or two. If you have a foundation in the course, if you have already gone through British history and literary theory, and if you're in the current position of revising the entire syllabus, so if you know the area from which they are going to ask you, for example, if you analyze the question paper and go through the syllabus of major universities, you'll get to know that they are picking the questions from the syllabi. Plus, they are going to ask you. I have shared in the PPT the sources from which they ask. There are some standard books that the question setters refer, and even Wikipedia is an important source because they are picking questions word to word from these sites. So, thoroughly analyze the question paper. Even if you have a month, you just make the question paper your source book. And then from the question paper, you go on to search those works and make a list of your own. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, so Alok Ranjan is asking what to read to cover English in India unit.
For English in India, there's a good book, The Story of English in India, and there's another book, Masks of Conquest by Gauri Vishwanathan. These two are standard books.
Simran, could you please repeat the names?
There is The Story of English in India. I am forgetting the name of the author. I'll put in the chat box. And Masks of Conquest.
I mean, if I'm not wrong, one question has been asked, means to match the following from
Yes,
Mask of
every year they
Conquest.
ask it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
to match Gauri with this work, Mask of Conquest in UGC level.
In fact, I have observed that a question was picked up from Masters of Conquest and that was asked.
Yes, exactly. I mean, these are the main. There is one small book which is in a PDF form available in almost all the groups in Telegram. So you can refer to that. That has been written by I guess, yeah, Kalyani ma'am, Kalyani Valata. So you can
Yes.
refer to that also. That was a kind of summary of what you will find in the story of English in India and Mask of Conquest. So for short time strategy, because the story of English in India is a long book. Okay, fine. So with this, we will end up this session. Thank you so much, Simran, for your valuable time and also the way you have explained things. I mean, uh, people know about the other canonical works that we used to refer for UGC Net, like okay, so read Andrew Sanders or read Peter Berry, but that all popular whiskey part and that Blammer's book that was very means new. I hope means the students who have joined today, they would have found it very new, and they can rely on those sources also, apart from the canonical works that you all are reading, like World Literature in Your Face, the History of Literatures, the theory book by P.K. Nair and Peter Barry. So apart from that, you can also rely the two works that have been referred by Simran. Thank you so much, participants, for joining this session. I will upload the video. You can watch it out if you have joined in the middle of the session. Thank you,
I would
Simran.
like to thank all the participants.
Yeah.
Thank you for bearing with me. I am not that good a speaker. So it was the first time I got the opportunity to talk to so many people.
No, that was perfectly fine. And I hope that in the future you will be coming up with more sessions on the behalf of ḻɪķmania Literature.
Thank you so
I'm sure
much.
participant wants this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Simran ma'am.